everyone. We're going to be looking at, this video is going to be looking at October's themes, chat through October, probably pull some cards towards the end, see what we get. And following this, I'm going to record more sort of world predictions because there's going to be some tense days. I already in September had mentioned some very tense days, and it kind of all blew up towards the end of September as well. Today, the 4th has been a very tense day as well. So let's go through October and see what we have and see what may be coming up. I did start to note like predictions, like I was going to say, like a rapper, musician is going to be back in the news, but not only for what he's just been called in for, something else as well. I mentioned in September predictions in another video that there would be, by name I mentioned, he's going to come into the news, and there's going to be like tower moment of a can of worms opening, and that's coming through. So I'm going to leave those sort of stuff for the predictions video, and we're going to chat through what October has for us. Now my notes are a bit scribbly, so it might go all over the place. Now, we do have 2 eclipses in October, and that's the 14th and 28th. So we know that the energies are going to be ramping up. What I do want to say though is that I feel it rather tense. I feel there's going to be intense feel to October. It might be a bit easier than September because it's going to be challenging emotions and challenging our mental thoughts around stability and stuff like that. So I think that's where October is going to be a bit more weird, but hopefully, I mean, the eclipses bring in things that we've been wanting to bring into our lives, and any change that's not been happening, it actually does happen during the eclipses. Now, for the world predictions, I still see strange weather events happening. And I'd mentioned a couple of them, and I'd mentioned Africa, and we saw at the end of September as well, there was floods, and I think there was a flood in New York. But most recently, I also think there's going to be weird weather patterns, and also weird weather pattern news kind of stuff going on as well. Okay, well, I'm going to leave that in the world predictions because I feel like if I put October and then I put world predictions, everyone will think that it's going to only happen in October. So I'm going to try and leave that out, but there will still be weird things in the weather in October, and also the way the news is broadcasting certain weather patterns and chaos or events that happen. Is it naturally caused? That's something to look out for. So let me know in the comments if you want the world predictions again. And I think I need to do them regularly because by the 2nd of September, I already started noting things that I was going to do another video on. So as opposed to just keeping it every month, I'll do it maybe interimly and make it a lot smaller. So eclipse season in October, major change, major transformation. I think we're all going to be in different sort of feels around this. I do think the root chakra is going to be challenged. I would say that some people might think with the first half, the solar plexus is going to be a bit challenged. I think from an ego point of view, there is a challenge in the energies on the first half of October, but I think a good chakra throughout October that's going to be in and out is the root chakra. And so you're looking at like a crystal of like red jasper, a grounding crystal. It doesn't have to be red, it can be black, something that is just going to ground you. And I'll move on to that as well. I'll move on to it because in the second half we might have a bit of crown activations. But I think also the amethyst is going to be a good whole round crystal if you don't have all the crystals. Because I know that sometimes if you're watching, you know, healers or everyone that goes in that part, really, we can say crystals, and not everyone has every single crystal. I don't have every single crystal, and I'm an energy healer. And so, you know, you can't go out there calling out all the orange crystals or all the red crystals or crown chakra crystals and then picking the most complex one. So I think an all-round good one is, if you don't have many crystals, is amethyst is going to be great. Okay, it's healing, it's grounding, it's going to help your higher chakras, as well as then helping you heal and feel grounded when I feel there might be some fear that kicks into us. So solar plexus is definitely in the ring in the first half. It's about the location of it, and obviously that was triggered. I feel the solar plexus, I mentioned in September, solar plexus is going to be challenged, and by mid-September it was horrendous for me. Like, it just kicked off being very challenged, and I had to unblock it. And the full moon was quite intense. I don't know how you all felt. I'd be interested if you do feel, usually with the moon movement, is it the new moon, is it the full moon that you kind of feel more intensely, or there's certain patterns, or if you don't feel the moon movement but maybe you felt some of the energies that were going on. I mean, we also had on the 29th of September, was it, or the 27th, I think it was the 29th, where they reported Tupac Shakur, they took someone in prison. I was going to do a video on that because you can just kind of guess what I'm going to say, that there's people that knew all along, and he didn't wear his bulletproof vest on that evening. Why? And there's a female that was very close to him, not family member, that also knows. But I think what's going to be interesting is the person who's been very vocal. Are they being very vocal because the person they're stating who actually held the gun and did the shooting has passed away? And they might just take him down. Because Suge Knight, who was with Tupac in the car, will not say yes or no. I'll leave that aside because I know many of you are probably not into it, but yeah, again, a bit of injustice there. So it's going to be easier than September, but it's going to be unique. There's going to be intuitive. I feel like it's going to be a bit... what's going to be easy about it is because we know we've headed into autumn. Fully, we're into autumn. We're in October. We know that things, you know, September is quite a rush pace. You're getting... It's the chapter that's starting, kids are going back to school. Whereas October, you realise that actually I can stop and have a latte and just slow down. Or I can stop and have my cuppa. And don't feel, I'm saying this because sometimes I think when we want to slow down, we might feel like we're being antisocial, or, you know, if you go through days where you're like, I don't really feel like going out, I feel like staying in. And then you're asked out again, and then it's kind of like, actually, so-and-so, I don't feel like going out, I want to stay in, whether it's your friends, your family members, whatever it is. And you start to think, what's wrong, you know? And I think that if you're feeling that way, it's okay. And so that's why I think it's important to voice it, because sometimes we then question what's happening, why am I being antisocial? Although I think some of us, and I can hear it through the phone and I can totally relate, actually it's been years, I don't necessarily want to go out all the time and I like to have my own time, or you felt a shift in your energy and in what you like and how much time you like to spend out, etc. Again, for October, you're probably going to see some planted seeds that you've done over the summer come through, and you're releasing something. But it's not something like you're releasing something that is actually for the better. It's going to bring in light into whatever you're releasing. Something's coming, or something comes back in to replace what you've released, but you actually feel different because the energy lifts and you feel lighter. Things will go that are not meant to be in your life. Things are going to drop away, but that's also going to bring in a positivity, basically, to own that. In October, I think what makes it easier is that you've learnt more about your own energy and your boundaries. I think, you know, like I said, I don't feel like going out. You're happy to voice that. You're in power of your own energy a bit more than September by knowing your boundaries. And maybe October is a good month not to overshare with people that you're not sure if you should be oversharing with. There is an element in October about the unconscious. That sort of things that are hidden and it's not in your conscious mind actually turn to your motivation. What do I mean by that? What I mean is, like, sometimes you wish for something and it's in your subconscious mind, and it's without you consciously knowing, you actually put steps and it actually is your motivation. So that's a theme, and I think that's a lovely theme, actually, because you're working towards something you're not necessarily knowing that you are as well. There is a lot of chaos that could happen in October. There's tense days as well, and I'm going to go into that as well in the world predictions, which could make it. But don't panic, and you're not going to be panicked, although you see the fuel of stuff. But know that knowing things gives you strength on what to do, okay? And I also think there's a need to change perspective in terms of, oh my God, I heard a psychic say that there's going to be, I'm giving an example, a flood in somewhere. Oh my God, I heard a psychic say there's going to be a crash with this bank that's going to lead to this country, that country, etc. It's kind of like, if we listen to every little thing, we're always going to be in fear. And that's why I feel I mentioned the red jasper, the root chakra, and just really where you might feel a bit challenged in your emotions in October, especially with the lunar and solar eclipse. But there is a change of perspective, and that's where solar chakra comes in. But then the amethyst can help with the mental energy that's coming in on the second half of October. And the balance of the solar chakra crystals, also a good balance for that is going to be your amethyst. Like I said, it's a good all-round one for October because of the energies that I mentioned. If you don't have the other crystals that I mentioned, or I might come on to mention. The third and fourth week are more intuitive, so you could be in your head a bit more than your emotions from the start. I do feel like in October, the first half as well, you might feel you're dealing with quite a few ego people or tense energies. You could be in the third and fourth week of October. I think there's a bit more of trusting in life and realizing you're much larger than just you. the universe is really, really large, and there's much more to it than just you and maybe what is causing you to feel fear. There's beyond that, and I think that also helps ground us, which is great for that to set in, especially if we've felt a bit in our emotions or felt any ungroundedness. Sunstone is a great stone, okay, but like I said, if you don't have sunstone, if you don't have the root chakra stones, sunstone is really good because it's but it's not going to be grounding, okay, it's going to be a feel-good warmth, also give you sort of creative and motivation. And any stone of that similar. So I can also mention other stones if you wanted. You can let me know in the comments. Anyone starting a new relationship, you might feel like there's uncertainty about the person or about love, and this is really where you just feel those gaps, and it's not necessarily that there is gaps there. Just go with the flow, because you're going to feel that sort of uncertainty go away. Obviously if there's red flags, then no, but like if it's like, I don't really understand why I'm feeling this gap, etc. If you're feeling like they're weird and you're just not connecting, that's something else. But if you're like, we're connecting but I'm uncertain, I can't pinpoint it, you're feeling gaps but you still feel a bit good about it, etc., then just try and flow with it a little bit. The sacral chakra really needs to be strong around that. And then you can sustain healthy relationships. There is a lot of cutting cords and releasing, like I said, letting go of stuff, and good dates for that is also around the end of October if you wanted to do that, where the crown chakra is also highlighted around the last couple of days of October. If you're interested in cord cuttings or readings or manifestation, light work and manifestation stuff, or energy healing, then I do all that. You can contact me in the email description box below. Ideally, the last few days, I'd say from the last 3 days in October, be yourself, plan big, do you, and you because the emotional intensity the first 2 weeks, you're also going to find people are not very sensitive to it. So people are going to be welcoming to it. Sometimes when energies are very tense, we find people very sensitive when we're trying to be ourselves, we're trying to be out there. Maybe you're a bit energized and more than normal. Play big, do what you want to do. People are going to be more sensitive, so they're going to be more accepting of it as well. You can use crystals to boost that as well. And you can also listen to certain frequencies if you want to know, let me know in the comments, which can, they don't have to be really loud, soothing frequencies. They don't have to be really loud. They just need to be subtle in the background, depending how you feel comfortable, but really they don't have to be really loud. Essential oils, I always use essential oils. I'm a big fan of essential oils. They're really good if you need to use some. I'm gonna pull a spirit animal, but one that I'm gonna, one that I find really gentle is the dove spirit animal. Okay, and it's gentle, it's belonging, it's being kind, being accepting, and that sounds like a lot of giving, doesn't it? Be kind, be giving, be accepting, but I actually mean not only to others, to yourself first. So that dove is kind of us realizing that actually, I just need to pull back my energy. I need to row in my energy a little bit. I'm giving this to myself. And I think it can be hard when we're in financially tight situations, or situations that really unstable how we're feeling in life. It's really, really hard emotionally, but mentally as well. But give yourself that. And that's why I've picked the dove here. So it's kind of like an animal, an image, something that helps you remember what I've just mentioned. And also the last couple of days of October, with the crown chakra also being activated, if you're wanting to do some meditation, get answers, connect with spirit, your spirit guides, just really where meditation maybe has not worked in the past, but you feel like you really need to have an answer and you don't necessarily want to pay for a reading or something, then those couple of days are really good. You should be supported in your meditation. Letting go of old vibration and rhythms is big, and obviously if you want to, whatever I say is your choice, but this is where there's themes of support. It could be old and you could be I made a note here, but I don't know what I was trying to say, so I'm just going to go with what I know, in general, the overall, but without the pinpoint that is letting go of the old vibration. Whatever needs to go is going to help you, and maybe you, maybe that last year, the decade, did you proud, and that's amazing. Reflect on that. Maybe it's changing now. Maybe something you need to change about. For example, you might decide to change a sofa in the house or the way something looks. Some kind of change and letting go could be of an old version of yourself or something like that, that welcomes in the new. If you feel called to, the energies support you to do that, okay? And it could be a year, it could be a decade, whatever, how long it is, and it could have done you. It could have been a lovely decade of success, but maybe that's an old chapter to you. And if it is, then there's a support there of energy of letting go into a new rhythm. Does it serve you as to tap into, oh my God, Britney's dancing with knives. Oh my God. But then they ignore like the first 5 posts she's got and the last 5 posts of what she's got and fixated on that. And then when she does something different, it's kind of like, oh my God, the psychic said about the banks, and I will be mentioning this in the world of predictions, about certain finances. Oh my God, the world flood here. Oh my God, Kevin McCarthy. Whatever it is, does it serve you to always be in a nervous system and on edge? Ask yourself. And it's probably not. And that's why I really think the root chakra is important this month with the other chakras that I mentioned. But the root is great to really focus in on and use the crystals I mentioned. There's not a heightened state is not always serving you. And that's where I also mentioned, I know it can be very difficult if you're facing also tragic health, or financial instability, that you trying to feel grounded, supported, have faith, have hope, and there's a lot of mental energy, and some of us may be sleepless nights, but we're still trying to go ahead with everything, and so the heightened state doesn't always serve you. Watch how, follow psychics, but watch who you listen to. Like if you're watching tarot readers, are they doing a lot of more of conspiracies as opposed to actually, yeah, it seems like there's a bit of a conspiracy, but are they doing conspiracy and then they're not also telling you a bit of a story behind it? They're just like, I don't know, using a murder deck or something, and they're reading on what happened via a murder deck. And so that heightens you, and it might not even be the actual case. There might be an element of it, but you need maybe a tarot card or a channeler or a psychic to actually go through it. And you probably use your discernment on who you relate to, who you can trust in terms of delivering messages. And sometimes you want that juicy stuff. I think I've mentioned this before, that juicy stuff, but it's not always good to be in that heightened sense. And that's why also channeling spirits can be can take energy, and so you need to hone in on what you're like, for example, on the content you're delivering, or you know, just make sure it's not affecting you. If you can watch that all the time, it doesn't affect you, that's brilliant in terms of conspiracies, etc. But like, don't stay in a heightened space if, for example, you have the news on in the morning, in the afternoon with your lunch, and then in the evening, and you're in a total panic about everything that's going on, because that heightened thing is not going to help you. So that's what I wanted to say there. And give yourself some space. Give yourself some space, all right? And there is going to be obviously the eclipse is the 14th, 28th, the last days I mentioned just now in October. The 8th, the 10th could be a bit intense, and the 13th as well. There's going to be radical changes, I feel, around the 18th to 20th. And the 19th of October might be an interesting date as well. Okay, but that doesn't mean that you have to get high rated. Come back and visit this. Let me know if you want the future predictions. Let me just check what this says. And I can then do that. So let's just pull some cards for fun and see what we get. All right. Interesting. I want to go to the energy oracle. Okay, it's interesting. So we've got thinking man and the crown chakra. Can you remember when I said the last couple of weeks of October, you might feel a lot more mental plane? I said about the crown chakra, and it's come up here. So this is where you might be feeling you get in your head a little bit, but also through that, there's clarity of your crown chakra activation. There is here the need for also reaching out for support if you need support at any point in time. This is also where you're like, I'll only hang out with the energies, people, places, whatever I want to do that actually make me feel loved, supported, make me feel good. I'm not tapping into every heightened thing or forcing myself to go out and do stuff just because maybe I told that, you know, maybe you was told that you're single because you don't get out enough. That's an example. Or for example, you just want to have that day, that weekend at home. You know, you don't want to be out with your friends. It's doing what feeds your soul, because this is also a 7 number. So with the card, we're also looking at solo here. And I also mentioned that where you don't feel like you should overshare stuff with certain people, you don't have to in October. So if there's certain people that you don't necessarily trust, you don't overshare with those, okay? There's no need to overshare. And I know it sounds silly, but sometimes I just through the goodness of my heart, you know, when someone's talking and you're like, I think this person's a bit iffy, but then they're like, do you want to go out for a coffee? And you're like, okay, I'll go out. And then they start talking about something, and then you suddenly feel like you need to kind of share the same back because it looks like they're just talking, or make them feel, I mean, I'm probably, because I'm an empath and intuitive and very much in that sort of field that I take on, clairsentient, claircognizance, and the other clairs, that I probably I extend a bit more. And so this is about, you don't have to overshare. This could also mean there's a shift, okay? There's a shift in certain areas in our lives that, you know, you're either releasing, what I meant is like contracts, but you're also getting something in. But there's harmony here through the energies I mentioned, through the way of harmonizing the October energies. I mentioned about the eclipses might draw in things that we've been trying to solidify or come into reality, and here's the card for it. Do reach out for support if you do need support. Tap into things that help you. This is not necessarily that your neighbor or, you know, Tommy making tea, or someone who's always in the pantry is talking behind your back, but it's about you might not be deciding to overshare what you're actually doing with certain individuals because you know that it doesn't necessarily pull in the best energies for you. Where's the cards gone? Oh, they're here on the second desk. Okay. And I've got the crown chakra. Sorry, this is the third eye. So about the meditation, the crown chakra activation. Okay. And then the world card. I just split the desk and you know, I just feel which card I should go for. World card. That's where we're looking at. You remember I said about a year, a decade. Maybe it's a very accomplished chapter, but maybe you need to release, change something. And that's where the world card comes in. It's kind of like a full circle of that, and you reflect on that journey, but you know that you want to change something. It could be as simple as you've had your hair blonde or brown for a decade, or, you know, for so long you've always had it short or long and you decide to change it. It could be a home, it could be to do with anything really, and you're looking at that. And some of us might be looking at where we fit best within our community. Are we actually at the right place that actually supports us in our journey of where we're going? Can you remember I said about the hidden motivation? So there we go, we have it. And there's also very much red around your root chakra, okay? And there's an energy of also healing and happiness around this. Now, I wanted to pull from here. I did say about a spirit animal. I'm looking for the deck for it. That's what I keep looking for. But I'm going to pull us a couple of cards from here. Oh, it's here. Okay. So let's get us a couple of cards. I'm told to pull 3, so one more please, Spirit. Okay. Self-worth, joy, and vulnerability. Doesn't that sort of add up to everything we've said about? So self-worth, joy, and vulnerability. Vulnerability, reaching out to your community, being rooted, knowing you're going to be okay, knowing you're not the universe is larger than you. Coming towards the end of October, that sense of trusting in the universe. You know, self-worth bestows confidence and an expectation of success, and that you're able to love and receive what you want as well. So decide on the clear boundaries that I said we've maybe shifted from the beginning of the year or the summer or whatever it is. You feel your boundaries a lot clearer, and that is going to help the self-worth. Decide on those clear boundaries and the limits, and firmly decline when others step over them or manipulate you, and you'll earn the respect and you'll feel better. And here this card says, with true self-worth, you radiate a golden aura which enfolds others and makes you feel good too. Ask your angel to step into your aura and guide you if you need help. Then we've got joy, haven't we? So joy brings a sense of connection to the divine, and the quality which illuminates us really. And with that, when we're in joy, we can't be in this sense of fear, anxiety, heightened emotions, and our root is a lot better. So is our sacral chakra. So can you see how that is? Now, that can be very difficult if you are facing certain challenges in your life, but if you're not, and you are someone who's happy-go-lucky and nothing affects your mental energy, I'm jealous. I need some tips. Let me know in the comments. But That is excellent. It's important to be in that sort of energy and hone in on that energy, and for us to continue to do things that make our heart smile, and even if it's just a simple thing of bringing joy to our lives. So you can also ask your angel here for guidance to cultivate the quality by seeking divine connection and in every situation, especially towards the end when the connection, I feel, is going to be a lot more. Actually, it just makes sense, doesn't it? Because Halloween is the 30th, which means the veil is always very thin. So it is going to be, but like with the joy, look beyond the surface, and also seek a light heart of each person and yourself. Remember the dove. So with this card, it says, delight in everything, for joy is a key to enlightenment. Enjoy life. And it says, I find joy in everything. Then we've got vulnerability. With this, only the brave and the open-hearted dare to allow themselves to be vulnerable. And it requires courage to be able to do that. And knowing that you have the trusted people around you to know that you're able to do that as well. You can also ask the angels, this is an angel deck, to help you dissolve any masks or barriers, so that your fragile side, your true self, can emerge. That makes me think of a butterfly coming out of a cocoon, actually. So, and there's freedom in that, and it's definitely one that we feel, once we're able to do it, we also feel a sense of freedom, because it's quite heavy holding on to a vulnerability of any aspect in your life, and you can't share it. So it says here, your angel guidance is to become aware of your defense mechanisms, which keep you separate from others and the divine. And you can say here, vulnerability is my strength. So that's beautiful. Let's get us a spirit animal as well. Let me know if you enjoy these monthly themes. Spirit animal. I think I know what I need to come out. Another spirit animal for his spirit. Lizard and the inner goose. Okay, so with lizard, it's really about regeneration, and I think this is where I said about a chapter of something that served you really well and things that we need to let go of, and through that letting go we regenerate, don't we? And we know that we're survivors and we can face things in life. No matter what happens, we adapt. We can adapt as a lizard. Embrace your transformation, put on your new cloak. You are a master regenerator, okay? Don't forget I mentioned the dove, about being kind to yourself, being accepting, being giving, that state of peace. Goose, inner knowing. So with the goose, it's about being, and the world card is here, it's about moving, being the world traveler, okay? Your soul knows the way. Knowing the universe is larger than you, and your soul knows that where you're going. Your mental energy might not always know it. Realizing that. Yes, Zain. Be confident. You will achieve your destination. Loyal friends are always with you. Your community is here with these cards as well. And you need to realize you don't have to worry. Realize you're blessed and just let yourself fly. Feel that joy. You know, the joy card came up, the self-worth card came up, and so did the vulnerability card. So I'm going to pull us a last angel message. Just going to pull this one. Endurial. You are a light worker. God needs you to shine your divine light and love like an angel upon earth and all its inhabitants. I love this because this really says that me, you, everyone that's watching this, really has a divine role to play, and you need to know that you're special. Look how beautiful that angel is. You know, you need to know that you are also light. You are the earth. You know, when we are light and we act with kindness even to others, we're like little angels of hope to people. And so be that light for yourself and for others. So that's the angel Indriel, okay? And hopefully we have a beautiful October. If you enjoyed this, please do let me know, and then I can make sure I also, I mean, I started it off in September, I can make sure I do it. And then I'll do the world predictions as well. And I'll see you in our next one. And I hope you have a lovely day and month. And bye for now.